In this video, we take a look at this box of Prussian Reserve Infantry by Wargames Atlantic. For those of you who have not heard of Wargames Atlantic, I consider them to be the best company for value-priced miniatures. These miniatures happen to be of good quality too. You get 60 of them in there. My name is Jay, and you're watching Must Contain Minis. I do reviews and showcases of miniatures and miniatures-related products. My goal is to share with you the options out there that are not necessarily made by the biggest company on the market. Special thanks goes out to Wargames Atlantic for sending me these miniatures for review. While Wargames Atlantic sent me these figures, I reserved the right to say whatever I want about the product and received no payment for this video. With that said, if you like what you see, there are some links in the description below that I get paid from if you make a purchase. Those links cost you nothing extra to use, and they are listed as affiliate to keep you informed. With all of that out of the way, let's take a look at the back of the box. Here, Wargames Atlantic gives you a description of the product and tells you that the miniatures all get the choice of either a shako or a peaked cap as their hat. Admittedly, I don't know much about Napoleonics, but I do know about quality miniatures and photography. I apply those photography principles to my videos too. Let's dump that box out and see what's in there. I haven't opened this up before, so it's a surprise to me too. Wargames Atlantic didn't put images of the frames on the box. While they do have images on their website, the lighting here is a little better. Looking at the contents, we get 10 sprues. Time to take a look at these frames. What is here is very straightforward. You get 6 miniatures on each frame with 2 different head options for each figure. Half of the miniatures come with optional bedrolls for their backpacks. Turning the frame, we see the back of the figures. There are some nice details on here. To get a feel for the miniatures, I decided to build 6 figures. It should be pretty easy. They look incredibly straightforward to construct. No instructions needed, just cut them off the frame and glue the heads on. To cut them off the sprues, I decided to use a hobby knife. If you have access to clippers, you could certainly use those too. It might even make it easier to do than this knife that I'm using. Once I cut the miniatures off the frame, I trimmed the excess plastic. Not all of the pieces needed it, but I still checked every piece individually. During construction, I bent the bayonet on one of the figures pretty badly. It bounced back though. The hard plastic that Wargames Atlantic uses for these miniatures is pretty robust, and they have a little bit of flex to them too. With the miniatures all cleaned up, the next step is to glue their heads on. Today I'm using Tamiya Extra Thin Cement. I've never used it before, but it came highly recommended from Forbes Hobbies. I'm liking the brush. The glue that I used before just comes out of a tube. On goes the head. Building these figures is quick and simple. Looks decent too. Now that I've built up all 6 miniatures, let's line them up and take a look. Personally, I like seeing the figures from a model's eye view. Now, let's look at the back of the figures. Wargames Atlantic miniatures do not come with bases. They have integrated bases on them. I think they need a little more than that to help them stand up. As a note, Wargames Atlantic does not do bases. Use whatever bases match the gaming system you plan to use. I don't have a planned gaming system yet, so I attach no bases to these figures. Now I'm going to paste on the bedrolls to the backpacks. Here's one with the bedroll on. Looks suitable enough. With all of the backpacks on, I decided it is time to see how they line up with other brands of miniatures. I do not own any Napoleonic miniatures, but I do own some other well-known brands. Here they are with a miniature from Blood and Plunder. The Blood and Plunder figure is a fair bit bigger. Next up, a miniature from Bolt Action. To make the comparison fairer, I tossed the Prussian miniature on a 25mm Rendera base. Let's move out that Blood and Plunder mini and toss in some GW miniatures. There is a Chaos Cultist and a Primaris Space Marine. I'm guessing you won't be mixing them together in your games, but these popular miniatures should give you a sense of scale for the Wargames Atlantic miniatures, despite me not owning any figures of the era. To make the full lineup, I tossed in the Blood and Plunder miniature again. Not bad at all. Overall, these are some really nice miniatures at a fantastic price. Typically, I do not like to mention price in my reviews, but you get some real value here. You get 60 miniatures for $34.95 American. That is a lot of quality miniatures that won't break the bank. These figures are good for Napoleonic games where you want lots of miniatures on the table. Do you have a system in mind for these miniatures already? If you do, please tell us in the comments below what rule set you plan to use with these figures. Thanks goes out again to Wargames Atlantic for sending me these miniatures. If you like this, please be sure to check out my other videos. While you're at it, don't forget to visit Muscantine Minis, the website too. There will be links below in the description. Until next time, happy gaming everyone!